Do you guys know what this is? I didn't either. This is the sewage holding tank behind my camper at the campground. And it's hooked up to, I don't know how many campsites. It's not very big. And apparently this little white bit at the top pops up as it gets full. Except when we got to the campground, they were all popped up. So we thought that's how they were supposed to be. Let's just call this a shitty situation. Okay guys, I'm gonna link products on Amazon. Not because anybody's paying me to, not because anyone told me to, not because I received anything free to do it, but because money's tight and we're a single income family, and I bet many of you are too. I don't want you wasting your time or money on things that don't work or that you don't need, because hey, we've all had kids and known stuff goes on the baby registry you don't need. Campers are kind of the same. So before you spend your money or get overwhelmed and frozen and unable to move forward because there's too many options, look at the links below. Amazon gives me a little kickback at no cost to you, and it really helps out our family. Thanks guys. Let's talk RV plumbing for a minute. This is your plumbing system. Underneath you have a black tank and a gray tank. That's standard on most campers. I have a third tank that is also a gray tank for my galley, my outdoor kitchen, which is really nice because it means we can go through a lot of soapy water in our sinks and our shower before we get full. The black tank, the black tank is pretty standard as well. It has a black handle so that you don't get confused. Then there's two gray handles on my gray tanks. When they're full and there's an indicator inside, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, you just get used to your own system. You pull the black tank. Always the black handle first. That way the soapy water from the gray tanks can flush out this hose. And this is where you stop thinking about it. It leaves your camper, it goes through the hose, it goes down the sewer drain, and then you're done, right? You would think so. And that's what led to our shitty situation. You see, after we dumped our tanks, we noticed something weird. All of a sudden in our clear elbow right here, things started coming back up, and they filled about half of the hose, which is really gross when you think about it, because that might not have been our poop water. Ew, disgusting. So we shut all the valves and we called the office, and turns out that black tank that I had showed you earlier was full, overflowing full. Really gross. So they sent someone out to pump it, which my kids found way too fascinating. Let's talk about the different pieces that you're going to need and my reasoning for why you need them though. Everybody is going to need a hose of some sort. We actually have 3 hoses because we've been to some campgrounds where the sewer connection is really far away from everything else, which is great if you don't want to walk out your door onto your neighbor's sewer hose, but can be a little tricky if you don't have enough hose to reach it. So we have 3 of these. This campground is really nice because we just need the one. Underneath the hose we have the little, I have no idea what it's called. It's the little bridge, and I will link to it in Amazon below, but that just holds your sewer hose up, and it naturally slopes as it goes down because you want this hose to slope. You want it to not dip down or get hung up, because then the poo doesn't go anywhere or it goes back into your camper, which is really gross. So this is nice. I've seen people make their own out of PVC pipe and roof gutters and 2x4. You can make it out of anything. This is just super simple. It goes together accordion style, really compact to put in our cargo bay, which is really nice. And we have been at places where it wasn't enough, so we supplemented with rocks and Tupperware containers and anything that we could get our hands on to help that slope reach as far as it needed to reach. The other things that I think are completely necessary are these 2 clear adapters. And I'll tell you why I like both of them. This, because I can see when I'm done dumping. Sometimes it dribbles for a little bit, and I don't want to stop it before it's done. So I like this. I can see what's going on with my tanks. I can see what's coming out of my tanks. It's not nearly as gross as you think it is because you put treatments in the toilet and it liquefies everything. So colored water, it's not bad. And then this one right here, I really thought that maybe I didn't need until we got here. And now I definitely recommend this clear elbow at the end as well, because then you can see if things are really going down or if they're coming back up. Because that's a situation I never thought we would run into with so simple of a plumbing setup. Okay, so there are a couple of other things that we use with our sewer hookups, sometimes, but not always. Like this little donut adapter. Normally where you put your hose into the sewer hookup, that little white pipe coming out of the ground, you can thread it in. So it's nice and stable. Not all of them have that, and that's where this little donut comes in handy. And I'm not taking it out of the bag because I think it's really gross, and I never touch it without my gloves, so it's in the bag. But I will link to it on Amazon. Speaking of gloves, these are my beautiful handy dandy reusable disposable gloves. So it's just a nylon glove with nitrile coating, so it's nice and grippy. And anytime we do anything at all with the sewer system, we put these gloves on and then hand sanitize after. The other things that we use are these nice hefty containers. Not this one specifically. Let's see. Let's look at these. So these are the high rise, and you'll see that the lid goes up, which is really nice, and I have them in various sizes because they fit perfectly through my cargo bay area doors. And so they hold all of our hoses, all of our attachments. This is the only one that doesn't, just because when I was at the store, I bought all of these and I still needed one more, but I didn't need the high rise on this because it's just, you'll notice, an orange hose. And that way I know that this is not for my drinking water. This is what I actually use to flush out my sewer hose. And I'll put on a glove and pull this out. So this hooks onto the end of the hose, hooks onto the end of the sewer hose, and you can spray it out, which is nice for cleaning, just a little extra to make sure that it's really clean. Because when you're playing around with poop water, you can never be too careful. I almost forgot two really important parts of the RV sewer system, and that is the treatment that you use to turn it all to liquid and make it go away, and the toilet paper that you use, because you want that to dissolve super fast so that you're not getting clogs in your sewer hose. Don't even go there. So, toilet paper. We use the Scott Rapid Dissolving for RVs and boats. I order it off of Amazon. Like, I think I get 40 of them at a time. I'll link it below. But it's really soft. I was always a Charmin girl, and Charmin is not made for RVs. It just doesn't work. But this is strong and soft like Charmin was, so I love it. I did not love the toilet paper we got at the camper store because it felt like sandpaper. And Lady Bits do not deserve sandpaper. They deserve softness. Okay, the other thing, tank treatment. We have all seen these, and if you want to go this route, there is something about this green BioPak that seems to work better than any other of the little drop-ins that we have tried, but this is not my favorite thing. It's good in a pinch, and I have an extra just in case, because you can pick these up almost anywhere, but this is not my favorite. My favorite is one that was recommended to me by another full-time family, and it is the organic Happy Campers odor-free. One thing about this, okay, it is a powder, so you have to scoop it. You can put it in your gray tank too, which is fantastic. It like cleans the sensors and gets rid of any smell, because anywhere you have water sitting, it's gonna smell, and you cannot put a drop in the sink. So, but it's white, so it dissolves into clear, and that means when you pull that black handle, you are going to see brown. Okay, when you use these, they're nice and bright green. That color transfers. you see bright green. So personally, I think that the Happy Camper liquidizes, is that a word? Liquefies things better. But this covers up the brown. So either way, neither of them smell. This actually has a really perfumey smell, and this just has no smell. And when it comes out the sewer hose, it has no smell. So I think this works fantastic, and this is what we use 99% of the time. But I do have to order it on Amazon because I haven't been able to find it in a store anywhere. Maybe that's just a regionally geographic thing. I don't know. So regionally geographic, I don't even know if that's a thing either. But that's what we use. This you can pick up at, you know, Walmart or pretty much anywhere. But it does have a really strong perfumey smell, and it gets on your hands even just from touching it and putting it in the toilet, and it just doesn't seem to break it down as much, and we have more problems with our sensors when we use the drop-ins as opposed to the Happy Camper powder. So there you go, last 2 items for sewer. If we're going to talk poop, we may as well talk freshwater too. This is your freshwater hookup, and it has a couple of pieces to it that are really important. This is the filter. It hooks on right here at the camper. It's got this nice reinforced little bendy bit so that you don't end up with a really hard kink in your hose. There are 90-degree angle adapters that you can put here too, but this seems to be working well for us. The filter, because you never really know what your water is going to be. Okay, we've all heard the joke about going to Mexico and don't drink the water. It's not just Mexico. It's anytime you go somewhere new, your body's not used to the water and what's in that water. So better safe than sorry, use the filter. The other thing that we have is this white hose. This is a drinking water hose. It is specifically made for drinking water. It is labeled as drinking water. And guess what? We have 3 of these too, because once again, some campgrounds have things really far away. And we got to a state park one time and couldn't hook up our water because it was literally 3 sites over, which is crazy, but that's the way it is. So I think we have 75 feet of this total. On the other end is a pressure regulator, and I will link to it in Amazon. It hooks up straight to the faucet. So you have faucet, regulator, hose, filter, camper. Super easy setup. All right guys, everything you need to know to get started with your water and sewer in the RV. If you liked the video, if you found it informative, click the like, click the subscribe, share it with your friends. Leave comments and questions below, and I will try and get to them and answer them and maybe learn something new. All right, have a great one, guys.